What's up, YouTube? Nick here with another Commander deck. Today we're going to be taking a look at my mono red Heartless deck. And if you've never seen Heartless before or played against him, he is an extremely fun commander. Basically what you're trying to do is stall the game and delay everybody from killing you so that way you can use his ability. And his ability states that Heartless deals to each player damage equal to half that player's life total rounded down. So just that in and of itself is very hurtful. So if you have 20 health, you're going to 10. If you have 21 health, you're going to 10 because it's damage rounded down. Now in the deck we have some enchantments that are going to give us the ability to do double damage. So with double damage on the board and Heartless's ability, if you had 20 health, then you would be dead. And if you have 21 health or an odd number, then you would be reduced to 1 hit point. So there's other cards in here to try and prevent that scenario. We don't want our opponents at odd numbers or odd health totals. We want our health total to be odd, and we want our opponents to be even. So that way they die and we live by 1. And there's some cards in here to help with that, as you'll see. So let's go ahead and get started. As always, if you like this video and you're interested in seeing additional commander decks, please go ahead and subscribe, and we'll get started. So first we have Chandra the Firebrand. This is the only planeswalker in the deck. Chandra is in here for the +1 ability to deal 1 damage to target creature or player. So again, changing our health total to an odd number and enemies to even. The -2 and -6 are good also, but really only in here for the +1. Getting into our artifact creatures, first is Platinum Empyrion, and this guy is in here just for the your life total can't change portion. He is an 8/8 for 8, so he's a beater if he's on the board, but really we're just trying to prevent our life total from changing so we either can't die, aka stalling the game, or if Heartless is on board and we're using his ability, that'll keep it from harming us. Next is Triskelion, and Triskelion comes into play with 3 +1/+1 counters on it, and you get to remove a +1/+1 counter to deal 1 damage to target creature or player. So similar to Chandra's plus ability, we're just using that to change life totals between odd and even. Silent Arbiter is in here as a deterrent / game staller. No more than 1 creature can attack each combat, and no more than 1 creature can block each comment. He's a good creature for the ability, and also for only 4 you're getting a 1/5, so a good blocker. Mer Retriever is just in here to recover any needed artifacts, so Silent Arbiter, Platinum, etc. Getting into our instance, first is Impact Resonance. Really fun card in this deck. It deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures, where X is the greatest amount of damage dealt by a source to a permanent or player this turn. So if you're using Heartless's ability to half people's health or double damage, if somebody doesn't die and they have creatures, you can use Impact Resonance to get rid of those creatures as well. Crimson Wisps is in here just for one mana card draw, as well as getting your commander haste so that you can use the ability right away. Reverberate, copying target instant or sorcery spell, then you get to choose new targets for the copy. So this card is good for targeting life gain spells. Really, I mean, there's a host of things you can copy with this. Shattering Pulse is in here for artifact hate, paying 2, destroying target artifact, and then you can buy it back and recast if you have enough mana. Wild Ricochet, probably my least favorite art card in Magic. I don't know why, but I just can't stand this card's look. But as far as ability, it's awesome. You may choose new targets for target instant or sorcery spell, and then copy that spell, and then you get to choose new targets for the copy. So similar to the previous one that we saw, Reverberate. Getting into our non-basic lands, Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle. So if you have, when it enters, if you have at least 5 other mountains, or when a land enters, excuse me, a mountain, if you have 5 other mountains, you may have Valakut the Molten Pinnacle Lightning Bolt target creature or player. So awesome ability. Got 33 basic lands in this deck, so I get to use that ability quite a bit if this card comes out. Rogue's Passage is in here pretty much for me to troll people. I like to use the 4 ability, and target creature is unblockable until end of turn. I usually am not targeting my own. I'm usually targeting other people's creatures to persuade them to attack other people. Smoldering Crater is in here for the cycle ability. If I have enough mana, I can just pay 2, pitch it, and draw something else. Kur's Keep is in here to generate sacrificial kobolds. So paying 2 and getting a 0/1 red kobold creature, and basically I just keep generating them and using them as blocks. Temple the False God taps for 2 if I control 5 or more lands, so that's a good mana generator. Getting into our enchantments, this is the first double damage enchantment in the deck, and yeah, double all damage assigned to any creature or player, so works great with our commander. Next is Smoke, extremely annoying card to play against, even sometimes to play. Each player can only untap 1 creature during his or her untap phase, so that card really slows things down. Another super obnoxious card, unless you're the one playing it, or if you're playing mono red and I have a bunch of mountains. Non-basic lands are mountains, so this really this can shut down a lot of decks if it comes out early. Gratuitous Violence, similar to Furnace of Wrath. If a creature you control would deal damage to a creature or player, it deals double that damage to that creature or player instead. Fervor is in here for the haste ability. Dictate of the Twin Gods, another double damager, but this one you can flash in. Mind Moil, just recently added this one. It seems kind of fun, and I haven't really had a chance to test it yet, or to see how it works in live play. But whenever you play a spell, you put the cards in your hand at the bottom of your library in any order, and then draw that many cards. So you basically play what you need from your hand, and then you're able to filter through the deck and try to get the other combo pieces to make Heartless's ability work. Mizzium Mortars, getting into sorceries. Deals 4 damage to target creature or player you don't control, or if you have 6 mana, you can overlord it and hit every, or each. Vandal Blast, another artifact hate, destroying target artifact you don't control, or overloading for 5 and hitting all artifacts you don't control. Mass Mutiny is in here as a hopefully finishing card. For each opponent, gain control of up to 1 target creature that player controls until end of turn. You get to untap those creatures, and they have haste. So looking for any creatures with attack abilities, or just any big ickies to do some damage to people. Grave Titan's a fun one. Any of the Primordials, because they get attack abilities as well as ETB effects. Slagstorm, dealing 3 damage to each creature, or 3 damage to each player you get to choose. Chain Reaction, in here is a board wipe option, dealing X damage to each creature, where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. Yeah, get on the battlefield. So yeah, it's a good cheap board wipe for only 4. Ruination, everybody loves a little land destruction, especially me. Destroying all non-basic lands. Again, 33 basic lands in here, so this really doesn't affect me, but it can really shut down other decks. Again, looking to stall with this card. Blasphemous Act, cheap board wipe, or typically it's cheap. 9 CVC if there's no creatures on the board, but then why would you use it? So for each creature on the battlefield, you get to pay 1 less. I typically cast this for 1 red mana in Commander games. And then it's dealing 13 damage to each creature. Reforge the Soul, good card draw here. Each player discards his or her hand and then draws 7 cards. You can also Miracle it for 2. Tempt with Vengeance is a really fun card. Things can get pretty interesting pretty quick with this. So put X/1/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste onto the battlefield, but then each opponent may put X/1/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste onto the battlefield, and for each person that does, you get to put another X/1/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste onto the battlefield. So again, you can see where that gets pretty interesting. Molten Disaster. So this is in here for dealing X damage to each creature without flying in each player. Just good way to get some damage or another miniature board wipe. Insurrection, another finishing card. This one's a ultimate finisher though, if it goes off. So 8 converted mana cost, but well worth it. Untap all creatures and gain control of them until end of turn. They gain haste until end of turn. So you're just basically taking everything and swinging at someone or everyone. Pia and Karan. When they enter, you get 2 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens, and then you can sack an artifact to have them deal 2 damage to a creature or player for 3. Ashling the Pilgrim. Use this guy to hopefully turn him into a big beater, and then if need be, use it as another board wipe option. Paying 2, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on Ashling, and then if you do it 3 times in one turn, you remove all the counters, and then for each +1/+1 counter on them, you deal that much damage to each creature and each player. Lightning Mauler, pretty obvious here, just pairing up with Heartless to get haste on your commander to use the ability right away. Stigma Lasher, awesome card if you've never seen it. Don't really pay attention to the Wither ability. What you're looking for is when he deals damage to a player, that player can't gain life for the rest of the game. So that'll really shut down that life gain deck. And he's 2, so you can get him out early and just just go around the table hitting everybody with him. Jaya, a lot of different options here. I'm not going to read everything, but cool card. Used for just to troll the blue deck at the table, using it for lightning bolting. And then the 7 ability is good for board wipe and just dealing out some damage. Good cheap creature to get out early, 3 mana cost. Molten Primordial. All the Primordials are awesome, but this guy's pretty cool. Comes in with haste, and then when he enters the battlefield, for each opponent you're gaining control of up to 1 target creature. Getting to use them until end of turn, they get haste. Krenko Mob Boss, he's in here just in case you're able to start generating some goblins to create an army and swing in at somebody. So putting X/1/1 red goblin creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is the number of goblins you control. Don't really have many cards that. Maybe not even any in here. Anyways, you just tap him, get a goblin next turn, tap him, get double the goblins, and just keep going from there as long as you can. Godo Bandit Warlord. When Godo comes into play, you may search your library for an equipment card and put it into play. And then if you do, shuffle your library. I'm typically searching out Loxodon Warhammer with this just so I can get some life gain. The second ability doesn't really pertain. I don't have any other samurais in here, so if I do an extra combat, basically only Godo's getting to swing in. Kazuul, Tyrant of the Cliffs, is in here as a deterrent. Whenever a creature an opponent controls attacks, if you're the defending player, you put a 3/3 red ogre creature token onto the battlefield unless its creature's controller pays 3. Ether Membrane, Defender, just a big butt for 3 mana. And then it's got a nice little ability. Whenever it blocks a creature, return that creature to its owner's hand at the end of combat. So it can be beneficial, unless that creature, of course, has an ETB effect, then you wouldn't want to probably do it. Hoarding Dragon. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for an artifact card and then exile it. And then when Hoarding Dragon is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you get to put that exiled card into your hand. So a good way to, if you have a way to get rid of it, fetch something up, and then when Hoarding dies, you get to put it in your hand so you can play it. Obsidian Fireheart, another super fun card. Paying 3, putting a blaze counter on target land without a blaze counter on it. As long as that land has a blaze counter on it, it has, at the beginning of your upkeep, this land deals 1 damage to you. So you're using that ability to put blaze counters on other people's lands, and then when it's their turn, they get pinged 1 for each blaze counter. Inferno Titan enters the battlefield. You're getting a basically lightning bolt. Deals 3 damage divided as you choose among any 1, 2, or 3 target creatures or players. So this is a good one to, if you got 3 people that are at odd health totals, you bring this in, zap them each for 1, get them all to even. Kamal, Pit Fighter. This is another pinging somebody for 3, target creature or player. Excuse me. Basically changing people's life totals from odd to even. The Mauler, I have this in here just as an early drop, and hopefully it turns into a big icky. Whenever an opponent plays a spell, you may put a +1/+1 counter on them. So 5, 6 people playing, going around the board, everybody's casting spells. Doesn't take them long to get huge. So somebody's going to either have to spot removal them or board wipe. Nim Deathmantle. So equipped creature has +2/+2 and Intimidate, and is a black zombie. Or whenever a non-token creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you get to pay 4. If you do, return that card to the battlefield and then attach Nim Deathmantle to it. Mourner's Shield. When Mourner's Shield comes into play, you may remove target card in a graveyard from the game. And you get to pay 2 then and tap to prevent all damage that would be dealt this turn by a source of your choice that shares a color with the imprinted card. So typically I'm taking something out of my graveyard, a red card, to prevent damage from red sources, so I can try to prevent the damage from my commander. Staff and In. This is in here for card draw, as well as the tapping to deal 1 damage to creature or player. Thran Dynamo. Taps for 3, so awesome card. Swiftfoot Boots is in here just to get my commander hexproof and haste. Hexproof is awesome because a lot of times people are saving spot removal or trying to draw it so they can shut down my commander. Trading Post, great utility card here. Paying 1, discard a card, gain 4 life. Pay 1 and pay 1 life to put a 0/1 white goat creature token onto the battlefield, so use that as blocking. Or pay 1, sack a creature, return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand, so getting something that I need, Loxodon, Warhammer, etc. back out of the graveyard. Or paying 1 and tap to sacrifice an artifact and draw a card. So lots of different options with this card. Really very versatile and works well in this deck. 1000-Year Elixir. You may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste. So again, this is in here for my commander. And you can also pay 1 and tap this to untap target creature. So if you don't have double damage out, you can at least keep whittling people down by untapping your commander. Caged Sun is just in here for doubling my mana, so I can do all the things I need to do. General's Regalia. Paying 3, the next time a source of your choice would deal damage to you this turn, that damage is dealt to target creature you control instead. So if I have another creature on board and my commander, I can redirect the damage to my creature to keep myself from being half-lived or or dead, or reduced to 1, I guess. Dark Sphere, kind of a cool old card here for 0. Tapping, sacrifice Dark Sphere to prevent half of the damage done to you by a single source rounded down. Hammer of Perforos, creatures you control have haste. And then I can also, if you want to, pay to sack a land to get a 3/3 colorless golem artifact, enchantment artifact creature token onto the battlefield. Really only here for the haste ability. Good old Loxodon Warhammer. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 and has trample, and whenever this creature deals damage, you get to gain that much life. So Heartless does deal damage, so you can, if you have this equipped up, you're gaining just a ton of health. Pentagram of the Ages, paying 4. Preventing all damage to you from 1 source. Pentagram of the Ages does not prevent the same source from damaging you again later this turn, so you just get to prevent it once. So with that 1,000-year elixir, if I had used Heartless's ability and then paid to untap him and then used it again, I would only get to prevent it the one time. Darksteel Plate, this is just to equip up to my commander to hopefully keep him on the board so he's not getting sniped. Lightning Greaves, another utility card to keep my commander alive, giving him haste and shroud. Gilded Lotus is in here just for the tap ability, obviously, getting 3 mana. Crawl Space, kind of a deterrent card. No more than 2 creatures can attack you on each combat. Just hoping to get that out early. Basalt Monolith, tap to add 3 colorless mana to your mana pool, and it does not untap during your normal untap phase. You need to spend 3 to untap it, so get that out early, and then you can get the benefit right away, but then later on you have to pay to be able to use it again. And last but not least, our Mountain. So there's 33 basic lands in here to wrap it all up. So that's my deck for this week. Hopefully you liked it and it gave you some cool ideas. If you haven't tried Heartless before as a commander, highly recommended. You'll have nothing but a good time with them. As always, looking for comments, suggestions on what I should take in, put out, etc. And if you liked the video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe for future videos. Thanks for watching and have a great day.